All righty. Good morning, everyone. The time is now 9 o'clock on Tuesday, June the 3rd, 2025. I would like to call this Board of Public Works meeting to order, and at this time, we will not accept any additional bids or quotes unless you're already present and have not delivered them to us. All right, seeing none, Nancy, can you take roll, please?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for stepping in today to chair the meeting. We appreciate you. Our president is not with us today, Mike Macklin. In the council chambers, we do have 4 members. Andy Jones.
Present.
Rose Rivera.
Present.
Jamie Arcee.
Present.
And Ron Davis.
Present.
Thank you, board.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
So motion by Rose, second by Andy.
Perfect.
Mr. Jones, Ms. Rivera. I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda as a new third item in Section 8, new business for the network upgrade project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All those in favor of the proposed amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. All those in favor of the amended agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. The motion has been, and the agenda's been approved. We have bid number 25-16 for the 2025 asphalt crack sealing project.
I have here a legal notice of publication in the Elkhart Truth showing that bid number 2516 for the 2025 asphalt crack sealing project was published on May 17, 2025 and May 24, 2025.
Great, thank you. It appears we only have the one. Right, so we have one from, let me find the summary. So this is a bid from Asphalt Restoration Services from South Bend, Indiana. Let me locate the bid summary. We have what appears to be a contract price of $125,000. Verify, there's nothing else. All right, this seems to be complete. I'll entertain a motion to assign to staff to award at a future meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next up, we have quote number 2512, the Beardsley and Greenleaf Storm Sewer Connection Project. No advertising required for that. Like we also have only one respondent, and that is from Premium Concrete Services Incorporated, located in Elkhart, Indiana. Their certified quote summary form has a total quote price of $23,426. I'll entertain a motion to assign these to staff to award at a future meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Aims and allowance. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims and allowance docket in the amount of $4,864,045.97, consisting of 33 pages, printed on May the 27th, 2025 at 2:33 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Coons?
Good morning. Erin Coons, Deputy Controller. We have one for American Consulting for the Public Safety Building PSA for $164,080. And then for Ames Lift Station 20 to Selge Construction for $351,256.84. And our American Rescue Plan claims total this time $13,124.21.
Thank you. Board, any questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the claims and allowance docket signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in a second. Any discussion, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the board minutes for May the 20th, 2025, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Greenleaf Place right-of-way dedication. I'll entertain a motion to accept a 10-foot right-of-way adjacent to Lot 1 of Greenleaf Place on Greenleaf Boulevard.
So moved.
Motion second, Mr. Trotter.
Good morning, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, the Board of Works is being asked to accept the 10-foot right-of-way dedication. This has been through Plan Commission and Plat Committee. Before we can get it recorded, this is the last step to have the board accept the right-of-way dedication.
And what are we accomplishing by us taking over the property? What's the long-term goal?
It is going to be maintained by the city of Elkhart, and we want to have the right-of-way in the city of Elkhart's right-of-way.
Okay. Board, any other questions? All right, all those in favor of accepting the 10-foot right-of-way adjacent to Lot 1 on Greenleaf Place on Greenleaf Boulevard, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, I'll entertain a motion to approve a new meter in installation at 29360 River Shore Estates and financing terms of 12 months with no interest.
So moved.
Second.
Erwin?
Good morning, Board. So we have a customer at 29360 River Shore Estate. His name is Mr. Howe. He makes, I'm not saying this in an accusatory way, but he is claiming that at some point in the past, he contacted the utility office, him and his plumber, and they were directed that they could remove, or they were told that their meter was a water pressure regulator and that they could remove that. I have no evidence to certify that one way or the other than our policies that would never have our employees advise someone that it was okay to remove their meter. So Mr. Howe is here, if you'd like to speak to him. We didn't have a method to do what he was requesting within our authority, so we thought we'd probably bring this to the board.
And thank you, Tori. And for the public's benefit, what is being asked for is that we give some free time to true up the account. And I assume that was estimated based on consumption, or was there a real way to, or it was agreed upon that this was going to be the consumption that likely occurred during that time frame?
It was the consumption that likely occurred during that time frame. So, yep.
And in the motion that we are accepting, are we being asked to also pay for and provide the water meter?
No, the request as it's written, he has two requests.
Yeah.
The first request, the staff didn't support, but the second request was that the new meter would be installed and provided, and that the cost of that meter and installation would just be financed over the course of 12 months.
Okay, so this is just approving the installation of a new meter
Correct.
and not obligating the utility for the cost of that in any other way. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Lori, question. What is the cost?
I don't know all that off the top
Approximately
of
over
my
the
head.
course.
I'm sorry. I can get that information for you, Andy, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Are we hundreds or thousands?
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not going
I
to
mean,
speculate.
it's a meter and installation.
Yep. So, Brian, do you know by chance the cost of a meter? Yeah. We'll get you. I'll see if I can get the information.
And as Nancy suggested, Mr. Hall may have that information already. If you're welcome to speak, Mr. Hall, if you would like. Part of the board's process here is if you haven't already signed in, and then state your name for the record so that we can appropriately document it in minutes. And given that you're on the taller side, you may have to speak more directly into the mic so everybody can pick you up.
Sure, absolutely. Good morning, Board. My name is Andrew Howe, resident of 29360 River Shore Estates in Elkhart. And you do have that letter, I hope, that was provided. And there were two options that I, on my own, had come up with for a resolution to this issue. One being that at no fault of my own or my plumber's, who was on speakerphone with me during the conversation with the board, or no, I'm sorry, not the board, but the Public Works, that we could remove this, what they described as a old water pressure regulator. And I did ask them if we had to return it to them, because as some things that are, county property or whatever, and we were told that we could dispose of it. So I disposed of it. Unfortunately, the water company does not record phone calls, which would have been wonderful, because this would be a moot point because everything would have been recorded. But my plumber was with me to get the guidance from the company, from the water company, in order to do this. So the resolution, the two options were, one, because of no fault of my own, that I would not incur any cost for the meter or the installation. And obviously, on the extreme side of the spectrum, I gave an option to then, at cost, for myself to finance that over a period of 12 months, equal payments in my bill, because I wanted to be fair to the board to say, either this or that. But there are many options that could be facilitated for this issue.
Approximately how much is it going to cost for the installation and the
I
meter,
have
you know?
no idea,
Okay.
because, as you can tell, nobody seems to know. And when somebody says thousands as a private residence, that kind of like concerns me. But
Sure, I would speculate that would not likely be the case. I was using that more for anecdotal, hopefully to provide a
Correct.
reasonable spectrum, and not really anticipating a yes to have occurred on that component.
Absolutely.
And where your position in how you interpreted that conversation, just for asking sake, is your plumber also present to help corroborate that story with you today?
He's not
or-
here today, but if need to be, I can get his either his presence at another meeting, or I can get a certified letter. So I wanted to approach the board first to determine exactly how we wanted to proceed before involving him, but he is willing. I did contact
Okay,
him.
thank you. Board, do you have any questions?
So you're willing to pay, sounds like you're willing to pay for it, even though it may not have been your fault.
Correct.
You're just asking for over a 12-month period.
Correct, because we really just don't have any idea.
I think
how much
that's,
it'll cost.
generous on your part. Again, I don't think you did it on purpose or maliciously. It was a misunderstanding, it sounds like. So-
Correct.
And I think I would support that position too, and not want to establish a precedent for other, while I believe that your intent is true and not untrustworthy, but there could be others that may see this as an opportunity to take advantage of a potential situation. And if you're otherwise generally comfortable, although not ideal, I acknowledge that. The board's position tends to be to support staff when they're making the recommendation, and unless there is really substantive or real direction on why we should not support staff, that is our typical position. Ron, did you have any questions or anything you want to add? Thank you, sir. Do we have any other questions for staff?
I guess I just would have one, which is, Tori, how do you have a position as to his proposed resolution, the second proposed resolution, that he be allowed to make 12 equal payments over the course of a year to pay for this?
Yeah, we support that. We don't have an issue with that. And the cost of a meter is $5.90 and 64 cents.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right. Hearing no additional questions, and unless you have additional comment, Mr. Howe.
No, sir.
We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving the installation of a new meter at 29360 River Shores Estate and approving the financing terms over the course of 12 months with no interest, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Appreciate your working with us and understanding our situation.
Excellent. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank
And
you.
thanks
You
for
as
your
well.
service.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, I'll entertain a motion authorizing the board president to execute amendment number 1 to the on-call professional services agreement with DLZ. Need a motion?
Second.
I need a motion first.
Oh, sorry. So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second. All right. Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeff Schaefer, Assistant City Engineer. Very briefly, this is a contract that the board approved back in March and every now and then we miss things in the language. Our intent was that this would be no specific task more than $50,000, not a total contract value of only $50,000. So we're just making that slight amendment to this contract. This is an agreement that's shared by both you and the Redevelopment Commission. That's why there's 2 different actions here. So if you accept this revision, then we will take it to the Redevelopment Commission at their next meeting.
And whether or not the redevelopment commission chooses to act or not, it won't limit your ability to continue to use DLZ on an on-call basis for the work that you might need them for. Granted,
Yes,
this
sir.
has some specific broader purposes that they can piggyback on, but it's not tying your hands at all if for some reason the commission wasn't in agreement with it.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Perfect. And I presume that legal has gone through this and
Yes.
is comfortable with those changes. Or do you have any questions?
I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving amendment number 1 to the on-call PSA with DLZ signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to ratify the partial payment request number 3 in the amount of $1,609,360 to Selge Construction from the SRF loan WW241-82006 for construction on the Oakland Project B, Oakland CSO Tank Project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in a second. Jason?
Jason Simnick, project manager. This is for pay app number 3 to Selge. Right now, they are working on the tank, the wet well, and CSO 37 bypass chamber on the project. Everything's going pretty good. We've got a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow, even though basically we wanted to have kind of the walls up so that there's something to look at, so you can see the tank. Sorry, it's today.
What time is that groundbreaking? Is it 2?
Is that 2, right? Yeah, it's 2 o'clock. And we've got one wall poured right now, so you can kind of see a little bit of the scope of how large the tank is. And a very deep hole on the other end of the project, so it's it's moving along.
That's great. That's great. All right. Board, do you have any questions? All right, public, if you're available 2 o'clock at the Oakland Tank site location for a ribbon cutting. All right, all those in favor of ratifying partial payment request number 3 in the amount of $1,609,360 to Selge Construction for the Oakland Project B CSO Tank Project, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, I'll entertain a motion to ratify partial payment request for number 60 from SRF Loan WW221-62005 in the amount of $159,720 to DLZ from the allocated SRF Loan for Professional Services on the Oakland Avenue Project D CSO 6 and 7 connection design.
So moved.
Motion, can I get a second?
Second.
No second. All right.
All right, this is, they've gotten their 90% plans to us. We got them notes and gave it back to them, so it's getting pretty close to being complete out there for this design.
And next up, after the design is complete and agreed upon, have we bid this out, or we'll start that bidding and I assume financing at that point then too?
Yes, yeah, we're bidding and financing this fall.
Great. Board, any questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of ratifying partial payment request number 60 from the SRF Loan WW221-62005 in the amount of $159,720 to DLZ for the Oakland Avenue Project D CSO 6 and 7 connection design, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to ratify partial payment request number 59 from SRF Loan WW221-62005 in the amount of $19,558 to American Structure Point from the allocated SRF Loan for Professional Services on the Oakland Avenue Project C Harrison Street design.
And this project is basically mirroring Project D. We're past the 90%, and it is also bidding and funding this fall.
And will that be bundled in the same?
We are planning on having two different.
Bids. Oh,
So moved.
Second.
and motion second. Sorry. Thank you, Nancy.
given
Minor
the discussion before.
things. All right, that's. Thank you. Trying to, have a reasonable cadence here. All right, that sounds great. Glad to be happy to see when all this moves to the next step. Board, any questions? All right. All those in favor of ratifying partial payment request number 59 from the SRF Loan WW221-62005 in the amount of $19,558 to American Structure Point for Oakland Avenue Project C Harrison Street design, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to accept and place on file the wastewater utility monthly report of operations for April 2025.
So moved.
Motion a second. Or anything special? Looks like just a couple of wet weather events. Great. Any other questions, board? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of accepting and placing on file the wastewater utility monthly report of operations for April 2025 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up is the award of chemical bid number 25-13. I'll entertain a motion to award to the following responsible and lowest, to the following lowest and responsive. You want to read it? You can go ahead and read it in, Andy, if you want. Oh, yeah. Well, I was just, yeah, it'll be great. I'll entertain a motion to approve the lowest responsive and responsible bidders for bid number 2513 to the following companies for the following items. For ferric chloride to PVS Technologies at a cost of $2.59 per gallon. For ton containers of liquid chlorine to Alexander Chemical Corporation at a cost of $1,799.00 per ton. For 150-pound cylinders of liquid chlorine to JCI Jones at a cost of $159.00 per cylinder. For hydrofluorosilicic acid to Alexander Chemical Corporation at a cost of $2.61 per gallon. And finally, polyphosphate to Shannon Chemical Corporation at a cost of $8.17 per gallon.
Excuse me, Board.
Oh. Got it. So that, yeah, that wasn't included in the memo here. And then for sodium hypochlorite in 300-gallon totes at a cost of $2.89 per gallon to Alexander Chemical Corporation. Is that correct, Laura? Yeah.
It is, and it's $2.899. That's how it's quoted.
At 2.899
But when you
cents.
do the math and we buy large quantities,
Yep,
it works out.
those tenths of a penny end up
Yep.
mattering on the rounding. So I'll entertain a motion to award based on the amounts specified on the memo and as I read into the record.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Winona Powder Coating Incorporated for permit number 2003-02, their amended industrial wastewater discharge permit with included wastewater treatment system.
So moved. So moved.
Second? Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Andy.
Good morning, Board.
Morning,
Steve Brown, Public Works and Utilities. Winona Powder Coating has proactively invested in a new wastewater treatment system. They had some challenges in the past with meeting their discharge limits. So in the meantime, their permit needs to reflect their current activities, and this new wastewater treatment system has been incorporated in their permit to reflect their activities. So
Got it. So this is updating the permit to include and allow for them to treat their own or to incorporate the new upgrades that they've made.
that's correct. Okay.
Does that change any of the way that we monitor or any of the way that they monitor internally, other than making sure their systems work in the way that they expect it to?
Yep, just making sure the system works and no changes in monitoring currently. Yep.
Questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Winona Powder Coating Incorporated permit number 2003-02, amended industrial wastewater discharge permit with the included wastewater treatment system, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, Gemeinhart, permit number 8902. I'll entertain a motion to approve the delisting of permit number 89-02 and issue a non-significant categorical industrial user permit number 2025-3 to Gemeinhart.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, a second. What are we doing here, Steve?
Gemeinhart, they submitted their request to be removed or delisted as a significant categorical industrial user. As a non-significant categorical industrial user, this request is based on the fact that all of their production has moved overseas, and they currently do not conduct any metal finishing operations, but they do still receive their product from overseas, and they do have some cleaning operations where they package the musical instruments for selling here in the U.S. The plan is to just have them as a non-significant categorical industrial user, keep them on our radar. We'll come out and conduct inspections and attempt to sample their discharge. Their manhole is located in the middle of a lane on State Road 19. So if we have to, we'll get the appropriate equipment and signage to collect samples, but that's our plan here with Gemeinhart, is just to move them from significant into a non-significant permit.
In the case, if they were to make a decision to reshore that production back to Elkhart, to their Elkhart facility, then we would anticipate them going through and updating the permit back to what it had been originally, or whatever would be appropriate at the time.
That's correct. That's one of the conditions in the non-significant permit, is to keep the lines of communication open.
Perfect. I appreciate that forethought. Board, do you have any additional questions? Right, hearing none. All those in favor of delisting permit number 89-02 and issuing a non-significant categorical industrial user permit number 2025-03 for Gemeinhart, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, we have the aerial lift operator class. I'll entertain a motion to approve the attached memorandum of understanding for aerial lift training with Ergo Resource Management Incorporated. Motion.
Second.
A second. All right. Brian?
Hello, Board. So we are just asking that you go ahead and sign off on this memorandum of understanding. They're just going to do some training sessions at us at a rate of $795 per session. 2 sessions with a total cost would be a total cost of $1,590. We have existing funds for this. Yeah, It's just good training for our guys to get before they start using the aerial lift.
And when we're talking about aerial lifts, are those the scissor lifts type of things, or are those like the boom?
This is the boom
Or
lift
all of them?
specifically. Yeah, we don't actually have a scissor lift, but we do have a Genie boom lift that'll go up 70 feet, I think.
Reasonably high. And if we did have a scissor lift, would this be able to be incorporated into that, or is that a whole separate training on its own?
We could incorporate that sort of training into this. The scissor lift, yeah, we could incorporate it, but we don't have one right now.
Yeah,
So
perfect. All right. Thanks for answering my questions. Or do you have any other questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Ergo Resource Management MOU between the City of Elkhart and Ergo, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, we have a economic development partnership grant for the Leroy Robinson Southern Soul and Soul Music Festival. I'll entertain a motion to approve this economic development partnership agreement in the amount of $25,000.
So moved.
Second?
Motion a second. I don't believe we have anybody from the mayor's office present. Can highlight that historically, this festival has been included as part of the council's as part of the budget that the council approves at the end of the year, at the end of last year for 2025, and that this amount is consistent with the previous years. And we're partnering with Elkhart, with the Elkhart chapter of the Black Expo, I believe. I have reason to believe it's been fairly successful, which is why we continue to do it. All right. All those in favor, unless there are questions that we need to gather to send back to the administration for the board, all those in favor of the economic development partnership grant in the amount of $25,000 for the Leroy Robinson Southern Soul and Soul Music Festival on the Green, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up would be the acceptance of the Uniform Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement for Annie Kleefoth. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Motion a second. All those in favor of accepting the Uniform Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement for Annie Kleefoth, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. It's accepted. And then next up, we have our added amended item, which is the network upgrade project. I'll entertain a motion to approve the network upgrade project contract between the City of Elkhart and Cisco Systems Capital Corporation for a 3-year total cost of $1,006,641.33 that will be payable over 3 years. And
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
motion and second. James.
Good morning, Board. James Gerald, IT Director for the City of Elkhart. As you have in front of you is a proposal to replace a significant portion, all of the network actually, as a good majority of it is end of life, and we need to replace it to maintain usability and cybersecurity needs. So the new equipment is improved. It's going to allow us to get faster speeds, more reliability, resiliency. It lets us capitalize on a lot of new technologies, including Wi-Fi 7, and we'll get a lifespan of about 10 years. This is very new technology and isn't in the middle of the life cycle as we've done in previous years.
Wi-Fi 7 sounds fast.
Yeah,
It
I know.
is.
What
It's
is
very
that?
fast.
What do we have now?
Wi-Fi 6.
Is that right before dial-up?
Yeah, marginally better. The new one has 3 radios, so it does a lot more penetration through the walls with the 2.4, and then you have 6 and 7 gigahertz bands that the government's opened up. So it really, really speeds up wireless. And as most of you know, just about everything is moving toward a wireless first initiative. So this helps us better align ourselves.
And I guess how does wireless 7 compare to like 5G?
I don't know, to be honest. I would
Not
assume it's
significant
faster.
that the most of us would notice that our Netflix time to start is going to change much, right?
I think so, significantly.
I guess the only thing that I'd like to also include for the record that you state in your memo is that this is being awarded under an Indiana State QPA contract, which is why we were able to forego any of the formal bid and quoting process, which is allowable under statute. So thank you for leveraging that relationship that's in the energy that the state's already done on our behalf. Any other questions, board? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the contract for the network upgrade project signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, James. All right, now's the time in the meeting where we have public participation. If anyone in the public would like to participate, please come up and sign in. If you're online, a reminder that city policy is that you must be both seen and heard. And if you would like to participate, please raise your hand or otherwise alert the clerk so that they know to physically unmute you. Okay, perfect. Tori, can you remind the public about is tonight when is the Public Works open meeting that the council's having?
Sure, Board. Our annual presentation to the council, the utilities annual presentation to the council is Thursday evening at 6 p.m. at Public Works at 1201 South Napanee Street, Elkhart, Indiana, 46516.
Great. Thank you,
Hope
Tori.
to see you there.
I appreciate you sharing that like you did last night, and I hope all the board members can attend. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we're done. Thank you, everyone.